If you or someone you know has slow internet speed or prefers watching videos on the big screen, all of our tips and tools episodes are now available on DVD. It's the perfect holiday gift for yourself, a friend, or loved one. So just go to tipsandtoolsdvd.com, which will take you right to the Smart Recovery Bookshop where you can buy your copies today. All proceeds go to support Smart Recovery to help people everywhere live life beyond addiction. This video contains stigmatizing language and imagery that some people may find unsettling. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Smart Recovery's tips and tools for recovery that works. On today's show, we'd like to talk about stigmatizing language as it relates to addiction and recovery. Words matter, especially words that you or others use to define or address your own or another person's addictive behaviors. At Smart Recovery, we refrain from using words like alcoholic or addict, because these are absolute terms, either or labels that could follow a person around for the rest of their life. But people are so much more complex than just their addiction. We're multifaceted human beings, full of vast potential and the capacity for mistakes and self-sabotage. At Smart, addiction is not who you are, it's just what you're going through. Not forever, just right now. We see addiction like any other challenge in life, a challenge that can be successfully overcome. And Smart Recovery is designed to help people do just that. Pick up a copy of the Smart Recovery Handbook to see how it could help you too. The term junkie, for instance, conveys the impression that the person suffering from addiction is unclean, diseased, perhaps even contagious, human garbage in other words, undeserving of our compassion or help. The term wino or lush cultivates the impression that a person's alcohol use renders them charming, childlike, amusing. So why not just watch in passive amusement as they drink themselves to death? The term crackhead is an example where stigmatizing language goes from mere labeling to serious real-world consequences. In the ongoing and disastrous war on drugs, smoking crack became associated with African Americans while snorting coke was associated with whites. Coke possession involved lighter prison sentences than crack possession, even though they are exactly the same substance. If you'd like to know more about this topic, I highly recommend that you check out Dr. Belina Shaw's Smart Recovery 2021 National Conference presentation entitled Racial and Ethnic Disparities in Substance Use Disorders, Treatment, and Care. It's available right now on our YouTube channel. Even seemingly common everyday terms many people use in recovery can be stigmatizing. For an addicted individual to be clean implies that addicted individuals in general are dirty. Abstinent is a more value-neutral description. The use of the word habit trivializes the seriousness of addiction and implies that a person can easily kick the habit whenever they choose to, as easily as cutting down on fast food or not biting your nails. We all know that that is not the case. Stigmatizing language can also negatively affect how society, treatment facilities, and the medical establishment treat people suffering with addiction, and even how the individuals treat themselves. The phrase, person suffering from a substance use disorder, is more likely to elicit feelings of compassion and support. Rehab facilities may extend that person's inpatient stays. Doctors may dedicate more personal attention to their care. But change the term only slightly to an addict, and the perception changes too. The exact same person is now seen as dangerous, incapable of committing to treatment, or a lost cause. Why waste time or money treating a lost cause? Worse still, the addicted individual may come to define themselves by the stigma, internalizing the label, and then never seek treatment as a result. Most damaging of all, on a societal level, is the implication that an addict is entirely to blame for their problem, that their addiction is less a treatable psychological condition than it is their fault, a moral failing, a choice. Science now tells us that there are myriad factors at play when it comes to addiction. Genetics, culture, socioeconomic background, childhood trauma, PTSD, or untreated mental health conditions like anxiety or depression. With all these factors at play, is it fair to narrow it all down to bad choices or a moral failure? This question has vast consequences when it comes to our legal system, public policy, and our collective consciousness and how we view addiction in general. At Smart Recovery, we don't spend a lot of time discussing the causes of addiction, although they may often be relevant. We focus more on successful recovery, and we encourage non-stigmatizing language in order to help people achieve just that. One way we do that is to encourage participants to see their problem as a substance use disorder in the most general sense, instead of a heroin addiction or alcohol issue or gambling problem specifically. Different addictive substances themselves can carry different stigmas. At Smart Recovery, addiction is addiction regardless of the substance or behavior involved. And our tools and exercises work for anyone dealing with any of those issues. So coming back to the tips and tools part of this episode, here's a useful tip. Try to be more aware that some words, labels, descriptions, or common everyday terms we all use may have consequences when it comes to recovery, both in other people's and your own. Try to define yourself less in the context of your problems and more in the context of your solutions to them. Remember, labels are for jars, not for people. For an in-depth analysis of stigmatizing language, check out the Smart Recovery 2019 National Conference presentation, Words Matter, Addiction Terminology, Accuracy, and Stigma, given by Dr. Richard Sayetz. It's also available right here on our YouTube channel. Hey, thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for next month's episode of Tips and Tools for Recovery That Works. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notifications bell to always be the first to know when we premiere new recovery-related video content.